Elite Dangerous is a game about space, exploring the Milky Way right to the outer limits of the galaxy. Some people play the game differently though, choosing instead to explore the outer limits of human patience.
Commander Malibu is an Elite Dangerous pilot who's just finished a pretty unbelievable task. Elite Dangerous is of course an open-ended multiplayer space sim in which you pilot a ship from a first-person perspective, doing any number of space-flavoured activities like mining, trading or piracy. Well, it seems Malibu wasn't really interested in any of that. Instead, the player spent an entire month drawing the game's logo across the face of the Milky Way galaxy. The player completed a journey of 375,000 light years involving 6,500 jumps to finish the logo, which is 36,400 light years across. Here's a quote from his attempt to explain himself in an Elite Dangerous forum post. "I've been playing the game for more than 3 years. I've explored a lot. So now I'm looking at fun things to do in the game. That's how it came to my mind. It's never been done before. It could look cool, so let's go. Let's do it."
Malibu explained how challenging the feat turned out to be, explaining how he had to very precisely follow the course he'd mapped out so as not to ruin the drawing, all the while avoiding getting caught up in a fight with hostile enemies and other players. But that wasn't the only challenge he faced. Quote, "It also put my mental health through the mill. 6,500 jumps from system to system alone in the vastness of the galaxy. It's very demanding. But I knew about all this when I started my trip, and this is why I'm so proud of it now. Even if it would have taken 2, 3, 4 or more months, I would have done it. Elite is time consuming anyway, so this month I devoted to the drawing wasn't wasted." That's real dedication, so it is pretty cool. Like this logo's on the... There's like a picture of the Milky Way, and then there's the logo of the game overlaid on top of it, and it's a chart of his journey through the galaxy. You make your own fun, I guess.
Well, that's it. That's that kind of game, isn't it? You can do whatever you want. Does that say that the game's getting boring for him because he's played it for 3 years? So he goes out and makes his own fun, drawing. It's like making a drawing in the sand, as if you're on a beach or something. Make a nice drawing, but it just takes you a whole month and like 6,500 jumps and a lot of time and dedication and mental health as well. I mean,
mining, trading, piracy, space artist.
Why not? Why not? But that's certainly not the only time Elite Dangerous players have been pushed to do something a bit unusual. Elite Dangerous pilot Benjamin Barr and a group of alien investigators known as Canon Interstellar Research had a stab at talking to the aggressive aliens that arrived in the game last year. Elite players had no actual in-game method of communicating with the aliens. Those kind of mechanics just weren't in the game. But that didn't stop Barr from having a stab at it anyway by posting a video of himself delivering a message to a Thargoid in-game. It was his way of asking the developers to open up a means of communicating with the aliens in-game.
And in a tale of interstellar dedication, not unlike that of Commander Malibu's great space logo, there was that time an Elite Dangerous player spent 2 days travelling across the galaxy to rescue another stranded player. Commander Chiggy von Richthofen trekked 60,000 light years across the Milky Way to help Commander Macedonica, who was left on the fringes of space without fuel. Macedonica made the appeal on the Frontier forums, explaining his dire situation. He'd used up his entire stock of a crucial resource, boosting his engines while out exploring, and he couldn't jump back. Commander Chiggy answered the call, and within 2 days, after speeding across the galaxy to Macedonica's position, he arrived, resupplied the stranded ship, and rode off into the sunset. Well, the metaphorical sunset. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess you see a forum post and you go, I fancy doing that, and then you dedicate the next 2 days of your life travelling across the Milky Way, the pretend Milky Way, to get to another player who'd kind of made a mistake and used all his fuel. Pretty cool of you, guy. Commander Chiggy, good work, and that's a pretty good community story, I think. That shows the kind of player that you'd get in this game.
It's heroism.
Absolutely.
He's the absolute hero. 2 whole days of his life just to hand him some fuel and then go off without, as much of a fanfare or applause or anything like that. Fair play to him. I mean, it just goes to show that gaming communities aren't all toxic, guys. There's heroes out there. You just have to find them.
There's actually footage of this that happened, like they actually streamed it or something. We'll put a link in the description if you want to watch it. It is pretty uplifting, actually.
Then there was this story, which revolves mainly around goats. That is, actual goats. It's not an acronym, it's not a type of spaceship. Goats. Just normal Goats. Back in 2015, players in Elite Dangerous had found a way of getting around no shooting rules in some parts of space, which, if broken, would cost them some hefty fines. What they did instead was simply ram into each other. Frontier saw this happening and announced plans to patch in a new no collision zone on top of the no fire zones. Elite players protested the only way the internet knows how, with memes. Tons and tons of memes with goats in them because, you know, ramming, get it? The thing is, it actually flipping worked, and all these goat memes eventually got the Frontier team to add in a derby status, which allowed users to let the players know if they fancied crashing their ships into other ships, and they could do it without alerting the in-game authorities.
And finally, in a particularly uplifting story about players banding together against bastards, the Elite Dangerous community rallied together for a pretty noble cause. Elite player Brandon Keith, who has terminal cancer, was journeying across the galaxy with a group of players on a bit of a leisurely sightseeing charity drive. But the charity drive was hit by griefers who had taken an in-game station offline. That station would have been the finish line for their journey. Developers Frontier apologised for including the feature in the game that made this possible, but the studio also added there was actually no need to make any changes to the game. Why? Well, because of the sheer number of players that had shown support and worked to reverse the station shutdown, they had solved the problem anyway. Frontier called it a staggering outpouring of support from the community. So these griefers had come along and just shut down this station, which would have been the finish line for the journey, and then there's a way to counteract that in the game by pouring a huge amount of this resource into it, and that's what all these players did. They banded together and kind of donated their stuff and just kind of poured it into this station to bring it back online so that the finish line was reactivated and then they could complete the journey. And that's really cool. That's another really nice story from the Elite Dangerous community.
Elite Dangerous is a game I've never played, but you do get these, you know, it's an online world and, you know, there's all these communities like doing stuff all the time, just like in EVE Online. We've covered a couple of stories of the better stories out of EVE Online in the past. And it's one of them games where you hear some of these stories and you're like, well, maybe I'll give that game a go. It sounds really cool, like people doing this type of things, like a sandbox space thing. It kind of appeals to me. But then, like, you see something like it takes 2 days to go like 6,000 light years. It's going to completely use up all my time. It's going to be a life sink essentially, and he's going to spend so much time on this game. And that's kind of what puts me. But still, it's a good game. A lot of people enjoying it. And let us know what you think about these stories. Any better stories?
So there you go. That's 4 times the Elite Dangerous community did something pretty cool actually, and one time they just went mental with goat memes. Have you got any better Elite Dangerous stories? Let us know down in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe if you happen to enjoy this video. There's another video right there which you can watch right now if you want, and a link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. See you next time.